You need to have somewhere between 3 to 5 unique benefits that you're going to communicate in that first 60-minute meeting. What you're looking for is the type of prospect that wants one of those key things you offer. Okay? So you don't know which one of the 4 it is. It's like fishing. You got 4 different types of bait. You got 4 different types of fish. Okay? You got one leg. Fish comes swimming by. Fish doesn't say, hey, I'm the fish that will bite on the bait of technology. You don't know what type of fish it is. So you got to cast out 4 lines. If you cast out 4 lines and they want one of those pieces of bait, boom, you're going to get the fish. But if you only cast out 1 or 2 lines because you think, well, I'm so good and I got the crystal ball and I think I get an understanding of who this person is and what they want. You only cast out 2 lines. What if they would have bid on line number 4, but you didn't cast it out? So you lost the deal. What I like about systematizing the whole process is my job is not to close the deal. My job is not to get them to like me. My job is to not be so great or wonderful or whatever. My job is to make sure I cast out 4 lines. And each line I cast out is a systematized line. This is a script, this is a script, this is a script, this is a script. If they don't bite on any of the 4 lines, there was nothing I could have said to win over that client. So they were one of the 3 or 4 that I didn't get. I accept it. No problem. Cast out line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which one are they going to buy on? I don't care. They may bet on 5 of the 8. They may bet on 1 of the 8. They may be totally disinterested for the first 7 and bite on the 8th one. That's why my level of excitement has to be constant at level 10 throughout the whole meeting. I'm not trying to figure out what they're interested in. I'm not trying to figure out, I'm not trying to read them. I don't do any of that nonsense. All these sales trainings, they say, well, you want to mirror the prospect. If they lean forward, you lean forward. You want to dress like them, or you want to relate to them. You want to be likable. Talk about a common interest. If they say sounds good, that means they're an auditory learner. So you want to say things like, do you hear what I'm saying? Does that sound good? Or if they say, well, I see what you're saying, that means that they're visual. If they say, I feel good about this, well, that means they're kinesthetic. That's just a bunch of crap. Jesus, I don't even know who I am. I have to go see a therapist to figure out who I am. How am I going to read them in a 60-minute meeting? And what if I guess wrong? I don't want to go through that. I want to cast out 8 lines and see if they're the type of fish that's going to bite on one of the 8 lines. If they do, they're mine. If they don't, I was never going to get them in the first place. And there are some prospects that you were never going to get. I'd rather be non-emotional about it and play the statistics than get all emotionally invested in every single person I meet with, hoping, praying, oh, I think this is going to be a good one. I don't care who's the good one, who's the bad one. I'm just looking to identify the ones that want what we got. So if I know I'll close 1 out of 4, if I have 4 appointments, I get 1 client. I have 8 appointments, I'll close 2 appointments. I got 16, I'll close 4. I got 100, I'll close 25. So what's the point of all this? Volume of appointments equals volume of clients equals tons of commission in my pocket and everybody's happy. Versus, oh, I got this really big case coming up. Let me meditate and channel the energies of the chi. I know people that do this crap. They think that somehow one client is worth more than another. They're not. So I want to play statistics. I want to play feelings. Okay? You have a feeling/emotional based business, you're going to burn out. If you're not already burnt out. How do you get your prospects to make a decision instead of dilly-dallying, frustrating the heck out of you? How frustrating is this? Gee, why do we even put ourselves through this? Every person in sales goes through this. And the reason it's so frustrating is because, if they just said yes or no, if the little kids say, will you be my girlfriend? Yes, no, and then they send a note over, right? If we could do that with prospects, it'd be so much easier. The problem is you have another box in there that says maybe. Let me think about it. And they're always checking box number 3, which drives you nuts. They want the solution on their terms. If you're selling insurance, they want to buy insurance on their terms. You're selling payroll, they want to buy payroll on their terms. They want you to jump through all these hoops for them. You ever feel like that? Yeah, it's like you're like a court jester or something, and you got to dance around, and you go dancing because you want the deal. You need to operate on your terms as opposed to operating on their terms. If you operate on their terms, you have no, again, you have no identity, you've got no brand, you've got no standard method of operation. So you have to set up your rules up front. You never want to change your standard method of operation for that one prospect because you think they're so special. Well, this type of person is not like a normal prospect. They wouldn't do blah, blah, blah. They need to be, man, as soon as you start doing that, you're just a suck-up. And you know what? You get treated like a suck-up. They don't respect you because you don't stand for anything. Okay, so you're going through this whole process methodically. And the nice thing about when you have a process set up and you're going through it methodically, the goal is not to try to close. The goal is to go through the process word for word. If you go through the process word for word, you already know statistically what the outcome is. If you don't have a process, then you're shooting from the hip. You don't really know what's going to make you successful and what's not. And so you look over the past year or 2 or 5 and you say, well, geez, I think I could have done a lot better, but how do you analyze what you've done over the past year or 2 or 5? You can't, because every time you went out, it was something different. And that's the problem without having a systematized process. Okay, so take Will. Do you mind if I share what your results are? So we've been working together for how long now?
Well, I think we signed on the dotted line 4.5 weeks ago. We actually put everything in motion Wednesday, 2.5 weeks, basically right at 3 weeks today, yesterday.
Okay, so three weeks of putting a brand new process in place with his crew that has never been exposed to any of this stuff before. And in the last 3 weeks, how many BFRs have you taken over with no quote, with no running numbers, nothing?
We got another one today. We're at 5.
Wow.
5 BFRs in 3 weeks. In the first 3 weeks, with no quote, no running proposals, no nothing.
And 2 of them are guys that I actually recruited since me and Darren started working together. They've gotten 1 each. So, and actually, one time they made a phone call. The first time he sat down, first person he called, set an appointment, and they literally, the guy on the other end went, man, you really got some sales skills. Where'd you go to sales school at? Right? So that guy hangs up, and he's like an all-star now. He won't get off the phone.
Okay, so you got to have a system-driven business. You don't want a people-driven business. Like, again, it's like what Todd and I talked about last night over dinner. Todd's business right now is successful because he's successful. He's got a Todd-driven business. You don't want a people-driven business. You don't want a Barbara-driven business. You don't want a business that revolves around your abilities or your success. Definitely not. And even worse, you don't want a system, a business that's people-driven and successful because your particular people are so unbelievably talented. Now the tail wags the dog. All your value of your company is caught up in your people. If your people leave, you can't replace them. You understand that? Because it's a people talent-driven business. My business is system-driven. So even though I have a successful person producing in that system, if they leave, I'm not thrilled about it, but I know they're replaceable because I know they put another hard-working, coachable, intelligent person in that seat into my system, they're going to turn into a top producer. That's why I say you can create top producers as long as they have those 3 qualities. In fact, we even talk about that in the interview process. They ask me, so what are you looking for in a brand new consultant? You got to be smart, all right? You can't be a dummy. You got to be a tremendous work ethic. You're going to work 10 to 12 hours a day for your first 2 years. Don't even think about taking a vacation in your first 12 months. And then the third thing is you got to be coachable. If you're not willing to do exactly what I tell you to do, forget it, you're going to fail. But if you do exactly what I tell you to do, you're going to be like George. You want to be like George? Then 5 or 6 years? Simple. Boom. System-driven business.